So, Nikhil, I am absolutely delighted to have you on Film Mission Me. I think to have this chat with you has been a long time coming, and I watched Mumbai Diaries, and I think I was in complete awe of the way the series was made, and I think it also broke my heart a little bit as well in terms of what we saw. So, firstly, a huge congratulations, and thank you for joining.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I mean, I'm so glad you enjoyed the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think, Nikhil, just looking generally for you, it's been quite a, I guess a momentous time in that sense because you've had Bell Bottom, then you had The Empire, and now you've got Mumbai Diaries. So I think it's wonderful to see this abundance of work coming from you. I mean, given the fact that times are tougher than ever and work has become more unpredictable than ever as well. So how liberating is it to kind of be constantly active throughout this period?
Well, it's liberating for sure, Anuj, but it's also extremely exhausting. I mean, if I could clone myself and if I could split myself into several parts, I would do that. I mean, I think this is 10 years of Emmay Entertainment and something that me, Manisha, my sister, and Madhu started 10 years ago. And I think that the first thing that we did in the first week of the lockdown last March was that we um, got together on Zoom and we said that, we have to make sure that nobody is going to lose their jobs and nobody's going to miss a paycheck, and we got to be, even if it means that we are going to have to keep, take some cuts ourselves. And importantly, let's make sure we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, at the end of the first week of the pandemic and the lockdown, we had no clue whether there's going to be a month. First it was 14 days, then it was 1 month, then it was 2 months, then it was 3 months. You
Mm.
know, so the thing is that we just said that listen, we need to keep working. We need to be ready because when this opens up, we need to be the first ones out of the gate. We need to be there. So that I think that when we did open up in August, we had several things shooting in mad amounts of protocol and safety protocols and sanitization, social distancing, and only these many people, etc., etc. So it
Mm.
is very, very liberating that all our decisions and all our hard work has paid off.
Mm.
Having said that, I can't take all the credit for even like for instance, Bell Bottom was totally done by Vashu Bhagnani, Jackie Bhagnani, and Pooja Entertainment. So I mean
Mm.
that was and Akshay Kumar and under Ranjit, who's the director. But yeah, I mean, honestly, Anuj, Mumbai Diaries and the Empire was never meant to come together. Mumbai Diaries was actually finished. We finished shooting Mumbai Diaries by the time the pandemic happened. But we did the post, and then Amazon was looking for a good period to release the show. You know,
Mm.
so Empire still went through a natural progression in terms of timeline, in terms of how it got stuck because of the pandemic, and then we opened up, we restarted shooting. So it was ready when it was ready. But I think that it's been pretty. It looks as if that we are doing a lot of work. There's no question about it. I mean, in the next year or so, you will see at least four more shows coming out of MA.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
And we love to see that, by the way. I think it's quite wonderful to see this influx of work coming from you. But I think also, Nikhil, actually, I find your journey as a filmmaker quite fascinating because I mean, like I'm sure you probably get hundreds of messages even now about Kal Ho Na Ho and how much people love that film. I mean, for me, it's literally a very huge movie for me as well. I think just watching it and growing up with it. So, that obviously from that to now focusing on counterterrorism themes in projects like what D-Day, Batla House, and to an extent in Mumbai Diaries as well. So, what has contributed towards this shift in the style of stories you choose to back, be it as a filmmaker or as a producer?
So Anuj, I love I like watching shows and documentaries and films about terrorism and counterterrorism. I mean, I'm constantly doing it. So I mean, I just finished watching another show called Turning Point, which is on Netflix. Great a great show about how five presidents got it wrong with Afghanistan, you
Hmm.
know, and the role of Al Qaeda and the role of Saddam Hussein, etc., in WMDs and all the rest. So I love watching shows on terrorism and counterterrorism. I think that the thing is that I mean, Kalonao is my debut, and of course, it's a very very special film, and I'm grateful for everything that happened. As far as Kalonao is concerned, but honestly. Um I'm very lucky, Anuj, that after Kalona Ho, I had the ability to have an identity as a filmmaker who made D-Day also. A
Yeah.
lot of people, a lot of people get slotted with, especially when you make a film, especially like a debut, which is so big and so iconic, right? You just get scared to ever try something different.
Mm.
And I think that because of this, my early failures after Kalona, I just, yeah, I was forced to get into a position where I had to do something. I had to try.
Mm.
Whether if DD had not worked, you and I would not be having this conversation today. You know. So
Mm.
I think
True.
that yes, I think Kalona was a great boon, but it's also a huge. It could have been a huge curse also. I would have, yeah, because I then got complacent. I did a Salamish. Then after Salamish, I suddenly became extremely rebellious and said I will do nothing like Salamish again. And I tried Chandni Chowk to China, and then I said no, no, no. Maybe I have to, do the family NRI Indian diaspora things. I did all the wrong reasons for making films, Anuj. You're not making films for the storytelling. You're not making films for the story. You're telling it for the project. You're telling it for some reason or the other. And then you're put into a position where you have no other choice to tell the stories the way it is, which is D-Day. And that's where it all changed for me. And honestly, even after Kalonao, when the film that I was writing to for Dharma, which was before my public fallout and my huge this thing with Karan, and of course after that we are very close now. But I was writing a counter-terrorism film for Dharma at that time.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow, that's very
yeah,
interesting. That's
yeah.
interesting. And that, I mean, just that project that you were writing. So I guess that's obviously left on the side now, and
Yeah,
you
it's it's
completely
it's
going.
lying. It's lying. I think the only copy of the script was given to Karan, and it's lying with Karan.
Whoa, interesting. That is very interesting. I did not know that. But I think what I also find quite fascinating, again, Nikhil, going by what you just said, I every time I have interviews and speak with actors, there's often that whole notion of them feeling fearful of getting typecast or bracketed into a certain image. So going by what you said, it seems to be like that has also been a fear for you, isn't it? Of getting stereotyped and getting typecast into making certain types of films, right?
Yeah, Anuj, I would like to take credit for the decisions that I have made, but I think that more the decisions that I made were the hand that I was being dealt. Right? It was not really out of. I mean, honestly, after Kalona, I left Dharma Productions. I needed to feel relevant again. I needed to feel that I needed to tell people I made Kalona. I wanted to prove to them that I didn't make one. Everybody thinks that I didn't make one love story. Here I'm going to make six love stories. See, I'm going to do six love stories. So there's a certain level of arrogance as a young filmmaker that you walk around with a chip on your shoulder, or whatever. And then life actually deals you some very very karmic cards, and you realize that boss, you need to just you need to hunker down, and you need to do what you want to do, which is tell story. Yeah. So I mean, but yeah, I think that even so, what I would like to, I mean, I think that given today where
Mm.
I'm in a position, thanks to my own production company, thanks to the security of knowing where my next paycheck is coming from, of not having those kind of issues to deal with. If I was if I was told to if I was given a choice of breaking stereotype, I would do it. So I guess mentally, yes, I am that person who basically doesn't want to be slotted, right? As a this thing, right? If tomorrow somebody tells me to do, in fact, if somebody tells me to do a love story, I like Kalona, I might just do it, and I want to do it because I just feel that the world today needs love, and the world today needs hope, and the world today needs us to break into song and dance.
Yeah.
So where over the last 10 years I have resisted the Bollywood formula of song dance, and I've actually tried to stay away from it. Today I feel that why not? Let's go back
Yes.
to doing another. Maybe Aman can come back. He never actually died.
Absolutely. Do you know what? This is so fascinating. I think you have definitely done really well. I think with sort of, I guess, exploring that side, to you as a filmmaker. And I think kudos goes to you for doing that, for being so brave and confidently overcoming these hardships and creating stories which, you know, are completely different to what, people thought you were able to do. And I think that, again, kudos goes to you for that, Nikhil. I completely admire that about you. But, I'll be coming on to Mumbai Diaries in just a bit. But I think what I have noticed a lot about your films is that sentimentality and, sort of layered relationships play a very, very pivotal aspect in your films. I mean, whether it is, I mean, of course, Kal Ho Na Ho To Hai Hi, I mean, Salame Ishq Hai. Patiala House, I think, is a very, very important film here, I think, in this aspect. But I think even D-Day, for that matter, is or seeing the sort of relationships that we see, whether it's between Arjun Rampal and Shruti Hassan's character, or amongst themselves, or even Arjun Rampal and Rishi Kapoor, that whole climax scene, I can never forget that scene. You've always had this layered sort of relationships, even again in Mumbai Diaries, we've had that. So as a filmmaker, how do you present these emotions so strongly on screen? I mean, even when looking at Butler House, that Mrinal and John Abraham's sort of camaraderie that they had when she was trying to be there for him and be his strength. So how do you always sort of present this in such a solid way? And would you sort of perhaps say that because you began your career, with sort of high octane romances and high octane emotions in films like Kal Ho Na Ho, like Mohabbat and stuff like that, because I believe you were an assistant director, I think, in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai as well. So because you had that roots, is that what has really formed your idea and your perspective of presenting strong emotions on screen?
I think that yeah. So I think that the for me it's the stories that I mean, it's the films that I watched growing up, right? And the thing is
Right.
that Godfather is not really a story of a, it's not a mafia story. It's a story of a family,
True.
right? And that's what even Coppola, when he wrote about it, he said that I was making a story of an American family, American immigrant family. I was making a story of my American immigrant family, you know. And yeah, of course there are guns and people are dying and they're getting shot and all that is happening. But at the end of the day, it's a family. It's basically about loyalty. It's about what is expected. You don't speak against the family in front of outsiders,
Mm.
right? It's amazing, right? So where is the layer in the story? If there is no layer in the story and if everything is upfront, then there's no fun. There's no reason for discovery, right? What is the
Mm.
discovery, right? I mean, I think that's the reason that even when Nolan does Batman,
Yeah.
right? The reason that you love Nolan's Batman is because there are layers. It's constant layer upon layer upon layer. It's not just a superhero story. It's not just the story of a thing. Right? You're empathizing with even the Joker. You're empathizing with the bad guys. Even the backstory in Dark Knight Rises and all that is all it's crazy, right? I mean, so where if the layers don't exist now, then I feel that there is no reason to make that story. Absolutely. So what is that? Is it a father? It could on the surface it could be one thing. It could
Mm.
just be one thing on the surface. But if for the if it's not at the end of the day a story of like Interstellar, father and daughter story. It's not really a story about time travel and
True that.
all that is great. Nolan does it beautifully, but at the core is that scene where they're on either side of the bookshelves, and Jessica Chastain, I mean, the younger is on this side, and Matthew McConaughey on this side, and it's a father and a daughter, and he's talking to her, and he's thinking to her, and he's telling her something, and he's trying to explain to her that he's there on the other side. Oh my God, it's Hindi. It's a Hindi Bollywood script,
True,
right? I
actually.
mean, and you're clapping and you're saying, "Come on, man, this is fantastic," right? And so of course, he's layered it with this outstanding CGI that is going on, and you have Hans Zimmer's music that's going on. You have two of the biggest actors going on at that time, and you have Nolan doing his thing. But at the end of the day, it's a father and daughter story. So the layers are very, very important. I think extremely important.
Absolutely, very well said. And I also think, when it comes to the subject of 26 Kyara, the Mumbai attacks in 2008, I think it leaves me feeling numb, just at the mere mention of it, because I remember watching the fact that we were all just sitting at home in London watching what was happening in India. It was the most horrifying thing, and a lot of people lost their lives, and it was a very, very dark chapter in Indian history, I think, ever. So I think when you have a subject like this, and when you have a medium of OTT platforms and a web series as well format, where you have to depict this sort of layers and sort of relationships on a lot more, deeper level. So to what extent does it help actually to have this flexibility of the platforms that you're presenting your story on?
It's the most important part. It's the most key part of that the platform needs to. I mean, they have to believe in what you are trying to say. I mean, they have. I think that the support given by Aparna Purohit and her team by Amazon Prime Video, if I had not got that support from them, if they not understand what I was trying to do, I would not be able to have the thing. See, the thing is that let's talk about the layers, right? And of course, it's 26/11.
Yeah.
Of course, there are 10 terrorists that have somewhere or the other held the city to ransom. There's no question about it. Right? But while I am actually telling you or telling you the story of how the NSG and the police and the Mumbai first responders did what they did, I'm also talking about gender. I'm also talking about race. I'm talking about caste. I'm talking about gender. I'm talking about religion. I'm talking about love, marriage, career versus. The layers just keep coming, and I think that Anuj, honestly, I've never felt more comfortable than in this long format process. I mean, using the long, so to be able to build the characters, to be able to see them fail, to be able to understand their failures, to be able to understand where they are, how they are, where have they come from, and then for some to be able to give them some kind of redemption. I've just really reveled, and I've really been I've celebrated the long format. I enjoyed myself a lot. Yeah.
And do you also feel like you've, in a way, found your voice actually as a storyteller, as a filmmaker as well through Mumbai Diaries?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to hark back to the 2013. I think that I found my voice somewhere with D-Day. I lost it again a little later because I was trying to play producer, and I as a director, I think I found my voice with D-Day. It's just that with Mumbai Diaries, I'm being allowed to scream from the rooftops. So yeah.
Right. And I think because obviously we're running short on time as well, Nikhil, but I think because obviously it's very rare where we get to see the perspectives of the medical personnel and the frontline workers, throughout the whole 26/11 attacks. We've never seen that before as well. So I guess what sort of research and preparation went into creating these characters and the narrative of the show? And I think most importantly, what did you discover the most from this groundwork that went in?
What I discovered was just the relentless energy and just the fact that they have to make a constant split-second decision. You know what, Anuj, somebody wrote a very interesting review was that they are not heroes really. They are just survivors. I think that even in the medical profession, my father was a pretty high up executive in a pharmaceutical company, and there's a book that Eric Segal has written called Doctors. It is follow up to Glass, and in that the first line says that there are 96,000 diseases known to man, and there are only 16 known cures. Only 16 of them have a known cure. Right? There's 96,000 diseases. It's all guesswork. Everybody all you have is a lot of patience, passion, dedication to make sure that person lying in front of you is going to survive. And you got to make sure that happens, right? And as far as research is concerned, I knew that I wanted to make a grungy, gritty, real show about a medical drama. I just did not want to make it in the world of like a love relationship, very much in that soap opera kind of thing. I want what one of my favorite shows is ER, right? One of my favorite. I mean, for me, I bow down at the altar of Aaron Sorkin.
Hmm.
For me, Aaron Sorkin and anything he does, right, from Moneyball to A Few Good Men to the Trial of Chicago 7 to West Wing to Newsroom to Sports Night. So literally, I worship at the altar of Aaron Sorkin, right?
Right.
And for me, and I think that the one thing that he gets right all the time is energy, 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 energy.
Yeah.
If you can just get energy, everything is energy. Everybody's arguing, and everybody has a point of view. Everybody is intelligent, so everybody is intelligent, right?
Hmm.
In all his characters are intelligent. None of his characters are not intelligent. They are intelligent people, right? Even the cop, even the cop or the doctor or the politician, all of them are intelligent people.
Hmm.
And so I think that is what I wanted to do. And when we went into the KEM hospital and we went to the JJ hospital, the research team, and we saw that, listen, we don't have to make up anything. It's
Right.
all there. It's all real. This is what is there. These are
Sure.
fantastically, dedicated, intelligent, highly respected people who have somewhere or the other given up the opportunity to make millions and millions of rupees or
Hmm.
dollars by working in the medical this thing in UT Austin or Burbank or this whatever, and are slaving it out in the government
Hmm.
hospitals of India. We need to tell these guys stories.
Definitely. And I think even more so, especially we've seen the sort of pressure and, the bravery of them as well, with the way they've stood up to fight
Yeah, yeah,
COVID-19 as well and the pandemic. So
yeah.
I think it just re-emphasizes this whole narrative and this whole ideology as well, which is wonderful as well. And I think it definitely does come across. I think life seems to be quite busy though for Emmay Entertainment and of course yourself. I think post Mumbai Diaries, as we have wonderful films coming up. I think you have what Satyameva Jayate 2, if I'm not wrong, and then you also have one which I'm very looking forward to because I'm a huge Rani Mukerji fan. It's Mrs Chatterjee versus Norway as well, which is also coming up. Now, obviously, getting Rani Mukerji on board, it's obviously centered around a woman's, resolve to fight against all odds and take on a country. So, to what extent do you think will this showcase a very different side to Rani's caliber as an actor, and that too at this stage of her career too?
I think I mean from what I have seen, I have seen a lot of the footage. I have just landed. I mean, I've just come back from Estonia. I was at the show. I think that you will see a raw Rani that you have. She's pretty raw in the sense because actually the person that she's playing is pretty she's basic in the sense that she's only driven by the fact that her mother was wrong and who people said that was an unfit mother. So I think that you will see Rani in a very primal, extremely primal because I mean it's literally like a lioness whose cubs have been taken away from, and
Yeah.
she's actually played it that way, right? And so when I sent her the script and she I spoke to her on a Thursday, and she said, "I'll tell you, let me take the weekend and get back to you." And I spoke to her on Monday again, and I called her up, and she said that Nikhil, I was going to call you on Friday only to tell you yes, but I said that I should play a little hard to get, so I waited till Monday. Yeah, but it's very compelling. Yeah, the thing is, the story is very compelling. After seeing what Rani has done, I don't think anybody else could have. I mean, even I could. We made the right choice. And the
Definitely.
fact that she's after 10 years, it's the first film that she's doing outside the bastion of Yash Raj films.
Hmm.
It's pretty telling what the script is.
That is so true. I was going to actually say that as well. I think it's wonderful. And I'm looking forward to it, as I'm sure many of the Rani Mukherjee fans and other Hindi cinema fans too. So I'm looking forward to that. But you know what? I think, Nikhil, just generally though, whenever I see a project is backed by MA Entertainment, I think somewhere within me, I feel like, yeah, acha project hone wala hai. Somewhere within me, I feel very convinced that it's going to be a great product. And I think to see you come such leaps and bounds as a filmmaker and now as a producer, I think it's really, really empowering and inspiring to see that journey. And I think again, a huge congratulations to Mumbai Diaries. I tweeted about this a couple of days back, and I genuinely think it's the best Hindi series, web series we've had this year, and I stand by that. And I think it's wonderful. So thank you so much for bringing this
Thank you, Anush.
story
Thank you so much.
and joining me for this interview. I've been wanting this for such a long time, and I'm really, really glad that thanks to Jay and Amazon, we've managed to get this. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you so much. Bye
Bye,
bye.
bye, bye, bye.